Did you know that the 7 continents we learn about in school today were not always 7? For most of human history, people believed the world had just 3 continents. Later, scholars argued for 4, then 5, then 6. The idea of 7 continents isn't some ancient truth. It was created, shaped, and quietly agreed upon by mapmakers, explorers, philosophers, and powerful nations over thousands of years. But who decided? Why 7? And what secrets shaped the modern world map? Let's uncover the untold story behind the creation of the 7 continents. Early humans didn't really think in terms of continents. The ancient Greeks were the first to divide the world. In the 5th century BC, Greek scholars mapped the Earth into 3 giant lands: Europa, Asia, and Libya, which we now know as Africa. And what separated these lands? Not politics, not culture, just water. Philosophers like Herodotus and Anaximander believed the Earth was one large island split by oceans. There was no America, no Australia, no Antarctica. To them, humanity lived on a single connected landmass with 3 giant wings. This 3-continent worldview lasted for nearly 2,000 years, a surprisingly long time. Then, in the 1400s, European scholars started whispering about a mysterious 4th land, not because they had seen it, but because ancient mathematical writings hinted that there must be something else across the ocean to balance the Earth. This theory came from early geographers and Islamic scholars like al-Idrisi, who suggested the world couldn't be complete with only 3 major landmasses. This unknown land would later be called Terra Incognita, the unknown Earth. It was a secret that mapmakers believed in long before explorers ever laid eyes on America. When Europeans finally encountered the Americas in the late 1400s, everything changed. Suddenly, the world was no longer 3 continents. It wasn't even 4. Some mapmakers believed North and South America were one huge land, calling it the New World or the 4th continent. Others insisted there were 2 Americas, a North and a South. But the real battle was between explorers, royal cartographers, powerful empires, and early scientists. Each one wanted the map to benefit their own political and economic interests. This conflict is one of the biggest reasons why the world couldn't agree on how many continents there actually were. Fast forward to the 1600s, when Dutch and British explorers reached Australia. At first, it was thought to be part of Asia. Then, some argued it was part of a secret southern landmass. Others claimed it deserved its own classification entirely. It went through 3 different names: New Holland, Terra Australis, and finally, Australia. Australia's identity was debated for over 200 years before it was finally accepted as the 6th distinct continent in Western mapping systems. Yet again, there was no global agreement. Antarctica was discovered last, but incredibly, ancient scholars had already predicted it. Greek philosophers believed the Earth needed a southern land to balance the globe. They even gave this theoretical land a name, Antarcticos, meaning opposite of the North. When explorers finally confirmed its existence in the 1800s, it officially became the 7th continent. But not everyone agreed. Some maps counted it, others ignored it, and some even grouped it with Australia. It took almost another century before Antarctica was universally accepted on our maps. By the late 1800s and early 1900s, educators, explorers, and world governments realized something. Everyone was teaching a different number of continents. Some countries taught 4, some 5, some 6, and some 7. To fix this, an informal network of European cartographers, British and American educators, early geographic societies, and scientific academies met through letters, conferences, and map conventions. Their goal was to unify geography education. There was no single person who created the 7-continent model. Instead, this quiet collaboration across the scientific world slowly pushed the idea into schools and onto maps between 1900 and 1950. By the mid-20th century, the seven-continent model had become the dominant standard in the West. But here's the final mystery. Why seven? The truth is, there's no scientific rule that demands 7 continents. In fact, geologists say there are 6, merging Europe and Asia into Eurasia. Some countries teach 5, combining the Americas. Others teach for major land masses. So why does the Western world teach 7? Because the early map makers who shaped modern education wanted a model that was easy to teach. They wanted each major landmass isolated by an ocean, with political neutrality and cultural clarity. 7 wasn't nature's choice, it was a human agreement. It was a decision made by centuries of explorers, scholars, and institutions who quietly shaped the world map without most of us even realizing it. So now you know, the 7 continents you learned about in school weren't just discovered, they were decided. It's a mystery shaped by philosophers, empires, explorers, and secret collaborations across centuries. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you want more deep stories like this.